So I'm recording this because this is a recurring issue. So I want to talk about it from ground zero so that we everybody is on the same page. So um, some of you may ask, what should I do after I publish the paper? And this is actually quite important because you've done a lot of good work. You publish your paper, and what's next? You want to make sure that you claim the credit of your good job. All right, and that's why you should report your uh, publication properly, because otherwise your work is lost in the system. Nobody know that you've done some very good job, and that you're not getting the credit that you deserve. Right, so that's why we are making this video. Right, so there are several things that you need to do in reporting your publication. So generally speaking, these are the 4 steps that I sum up. So you need to report it in RMIT Elements, which is the research portal. You also, in a lot of cases, you also need to submit it to evaluation for ERA eligibility. We're going to talk about that. And then after that, you want to drop a line to your research cluster so that the research cluster knows your work. And after that, you also need to track your publication impact. We're going to talk about each one of these 4 items in here. All right, so why you should do this? Because we need to know your good work. The school need to know your good work. And if you are not reporting it properly, then your good work is lost in the system. All right, and that's very bad for you because you spend a lot of effort in doing the good work and it's not being recognized. Also, on these research portal, which I'm going to show you, you can collect a lot of data about the research impact of your publication. And you need these kind of data so that you can put together in your award application, in your grant application, or promotion case, appraisal. Well, I have grant application 2 times. Well, that's why it's, showing that it's very important. But anyway, so basically you need to be able to tell people that my research is very good. It is generating impact, and that's why you should give me the money. And that's why it is important to report your publication properly so that you can collect this kind of data from the portal. You can harvest the fruit of the research publication that you generate so that you can get more research money and other things of that kind. So, all right. So that's why we're recording this video here. So the first step, you need to report your publication in RMIT Element. And it is important to double check the details on the RMIT Elements portal. I'm going to show you how. And especially, I want to emphasize, you need to check the publication dates. Personally, I have a publication that was made in 2024. But when it is imported to RMIT Element, it was reported as 2023. And that's very bad. The reason of that is because the work is being published in 2024. When it is being reported as 2023, that means the credit is lost, right? My work in 2024 is reported in 2023 was already passed. Okay, so my work in 2024 is not being recorded and documented properly, and I lose my work in that case, and that's very bad for me. Okay, and that's why you need to make sure that the publication date is being reported properly and correctly. And I'm going to show you how. All right, so here we have RMIT Elements. You should have a portal. If you have difficulty, please let me know, and we're going to see how to sort this out. And I actually have one new publication. I'm going to demonstrate to you how to enter or how to have the publication recorded properly in the portal. Let's see, article in press. Okay. Let me sort out, where's my article here? Let's do a search. All right, here's my article. Okay, so this is a new publication, you can see that the publication date is scheduled to be published in May 2025. Well, today is February 20, 2025. So it's going to be published in the future. So this is the early release of the article. So when I go into RMIT Element portal, and this is my research output, this paper is not being recorded properly in the research portal. And that's why I need to make sure that it is, well, in some occasion, I'm not sure, in some occasion, when the paper is being published and it may be automatically imported by the index, but still you need to double check on the correctness of all the documentation of your publication. But here, my new publication is not being imported yet. So what I need to do is there's a plus button in here. So choose plus and then add a new research output. So select the proper research output here, journal article in this case. All right. So you can enter the title or DOI. So DOI is the most convenient ways of recognizing or identifying a article. So I'm going to copy the DOI of my article and enter it in here and do a search. Right here is able to identify my article, right? This is a journal and publication date is May 2025 and the author list and so on. So here hit claim research output. All right. So there's a way here. I think this is a new publication that is not being indexed right now. So the index is not being updated. So I have to upload the file. So here, download this PDF file. This is the actual publication. So I'm going to download it here. Okay. And here, choose that file, that PDF file that I just download. It's right here. All right, so this is the file. So I just want to open up just to make sure that I'm uploading the proper file, the correct file. Yes, this is it. All right, so here, select those files and then hit use this file in here. And I'm just going to put everything as default and then put the deposits in here. So it's going to upload the file to the portal. Okay, so your publication is deposits. Do more with this article. View your research output detail. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So this is my paper and the reporting dates. Well, that's the publication dates. And all the detail of my publication in here and so on. So now when I go back to here, so my research output is increased by 1 because I just claim my research output in here. Notice that when you enter in here, my co-author is also updated. So when I claim this research output in my RMIT Element portal, my co-author will also see it in their research portal. If they, of course, if they are in RMIT. So only one of you need to make this movement, make this claim only if you have multiple people working on the same paper. All right. Okay, so that's first step. Right now, my research work, my new research publication is properly recorded in the RMIT Element system. And of course, once again, make sure that you double check on the publication dates because I do have prior incidents that the publication date is not being recorded properly. and that is an issue. All right, so make sure that you do this. After that, there's a second step that you need to do is to make this publication up for an assessment of the ERA eligibility. So I'll give you a little explanation of what this is. ERA stands for Excellence in Research in Australia. So it is a process for the assessment of research quality. So basically, they want to make sure that the research output that you are submitting is proper research. It's not something that is not low quality or has no research value or things of that kind. So I can tell you that not all papers are ERA eligible. And I can show you some example in here. Let's see if I can point to the specific publication that I made previously who did not make this ERA right here. This is an article. So I'll see. So this is an editorial article. Okay. So it doesn't show it in here. Here on the upper left corner, when you click on this menu, there's a tab called Annual Collection. All right. So click on this Annual Collection. There's the Annual Collection nomination. So I have a publication in 2023 which did not make these. Is it 2003? Yes, right here. So this is the assessment status. You see this column here. All right. So I have several articles here for which that assessment is declined. This is an editorial article. This one is also declined. So not all papers are ERA eligible. So after you have the research outcome recorded, you have to submit it such that it is up for evaluation of whether this is ERA eligible. So let's take a look at the 2005. You see here, this is not nominated. So this is the paper that I just submitted, the new paper that I just submit to RMIT Elements. The current status of this paper is not nominated. Okay, that means the ERA eligibility assessment is not conducted yet. Okay, so what I need to do is to click on Nominates to have this paper to be assessed by someone in Melbourne of whether this piece of research is, is up to quality of ERA. So I'll give you a little bit of explanation of that. So right here on the menu, when you click on, well, let me see. Okay, this is, okay, right here, this is the annual collection nomination page. And right here, you have the collection guidance, right? When you click on that, there are guidance about what kind of criteria they use in order to assess your work. So if I take journal article as an example, these are the criteria, which it's not like a strict rule, but this is a general guideline about what are the eligibility criteria for this ERA assessment. And it is summed up as I kind of gave a little bit of summary of, some of the things that are unlikely to be eligible as ERA eligible research output. It's unlikely. That means it is not absolutely not possible. Okay, unlikely. So it can, but it cannot be ERA eligible. It's not very likely. All right. So for journal article, if it's a letter to the editor, if it is a case study, well, I think a lot of us do case study, but it has to be a very research-based case study in order to make this ERA eligibility. If it is just a general case study mentioned in the case, and those kind of easy case study may not be or unlikely to be assessed as ERA eligible. Article to inform practitioner on existing knowledge in a professional field is not ERA eligible. Article in newspaper and popular magazine, editorial. So I wrote one editorial previously that was assessed to be not ERA eligible. Book review, brief commentary, and brief communication of original research. These are the works that are not, well, not likely to be classified as ERA eligible in journal article. For conference paper, participation in discussion as a panel member, poster presentations, facilitation of workshop or at conferences or abstracts as conference publication, these are not likely to be ERA eligible. Okay, so here we have book. If it is a textbook, if it is an anthology or edited book or revision or new edition of an existing book, those are not likely to be ERA eligible. We have book chapter in textbook, entries in reference book, anthologies, revision of chapters in edited book, forward, brief introduction, brief editorial, appendix, chapter in books either not published by a commercial publisher or offered for sale. These are not likely to be assessed as ERA eligible. Okay, so these documentation are also available in here if you want to get into some slightly more detail. Commission report, I didn't include it in here, but some of you may be writing commission report, and those are the criteria of whether judging whether your work is ERA eligible, and creative work, as well. So here's the guideline if you're interested in this. All right, so here I'm going back. So you can see that you have annual collection. That means your research outcome on that year, right? So 2024, 2023. So basically, you're collecting your research outcome and bundling in terms of each individual year. So right now we at 2012. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. So right now we are at 2025. As I just showed you that I have a new paper, okay? And right now the assessment status is not nominated. So step 2, after you publish your paper, is to click nominate here so that this paper will be submitted for ERA evaluation. Okay, so nominated. Right now, this is the status. So you wait maybe a few days or a week or two or something like that, and then they'll come back and saying that yes, it is ERA eligible, or no, it is not. And then there is, I think there is an appeal process if your work is being assessed as ERA ineligible. Well, let me go back to my 2023. So this one is declined. I can appeal if I want to, right? Or add comments. I don't know what maybe when you hit appeal, I didn't actually appeal anything, but when you appeal, maybe you can add your comments about why, the reason or the rationale of your appeal. Okay, so that's step 2, having your paper to be assessed with ERA eligibility. So step 3, report to your cluster lead. Just drop us a line. All right. Tell us that I made a publication and it's up there in the Elements portal and so on, so that we are aware of your work. We can report your work properly, so that you have your credit of all the hard work that you've done. All right. Step 4. This is actually a very important step, and a lot of people are not doing it properly. Keeping track of your research impact. All right. So I'll give you a little bit of explanation of 3 different general research impact indicator or metrics, right? You have the journal metrics, that is, where is it being published, okay? Or conference metrics. Article metrics, which is your own, it is a metrics that's measuring the individual paper, not the journal, okay? And then we have alternative metrics. Journal metrics, well, I think a lot of you are familiar with this. Generally speaking, it is the journal impact factor. There's one notes that I have to emphasize. Journal impact factor are not used to be compared between fields. Impact factor should be compared within the same field. For example, comparing impact factor of a chemistry journal to a social science journal is not a valid comparison. Okay, so you have a, you cannot say that the chemistry journal with an impact factor of 10 is a better journal comparing with a social science journal with an impact factor of 5. That is not a valid comparison, because they are journal impact factor are field specific. Okay, generally speaking, there are 2 journal metric systems. the famous, well, there are actually more than two, but the two most commonly used journal metric system are the journal citation report that is being used pretty much everywhere in the university setting. But in RMIT, we are somehow sticking with the second one, which is the Scopus Journal, Scientific Journal Ranking. Okay, so the way it works is, let's see, go to Scopus. You can just do a Google search of SJR. Then you'll see this is the Scientific Journal Ranking by Scopus. And then you type in any journal like Nature, for example. Then you'll see this is the information of Nature. You can see that it is a multidisciplinary journal. As you scroll down, you'll see that this is the impact factor, 18.51. And it is a Q1 journal, right? As you click on the subject area, you'll see that Nature is number 1 out of 176 journal in the multidisciplinary area. So if you put out a calculator, you see that 1/176. So this is a top 1% journal according to the rank. It's ranked number 1 out of 176. That's how you calculate all these journal metrics. So the impact factor, the rank, and the percentile. Okay. So when you say that it is a Q1 journal, that means this is a top 25% journal. Sometimes you may find that there are journals with multiple categories. For example, like in JAMDA, this is another, well, maybe let's try this one. So this is Emerging Infectious Disease. It is a journal, the official publication of the US CDC. There are 3 subject areas in this journal. So how should I calculate the rank and the percentile? So this is a Q1 journal, impact factor 2.12. And if you go to infectious disease, you'll see that emerging infectious disease is right here, ranking in 21 out of 340 journal. So it is 21 out of 340. So it is a top 6 or top 7% journal. Okay. So, but there are 3 different categories. So what you would do is you calculate all the ranking and the percentile of 3 different categories, and you pick the one that is highest. Okay. So basically whatever that is most advantageous to yourself, you report that data. Okay. So that is journal metrics. In my research cluster, we keep track of the 2 journal metrics like this. So this is, you can see this is the publication dates, the author, the title of the article, the journal that is being published, and the journal metric is being reported in here. So we have Simingo, which is the Scopus ranking, the journal impact factor, the category, and the rank and percentile of that journal. Okay. And then you can, I also keep track of the other metrics from Clarion Journal citation reports. Similarly, look, let's see if I have access to this journal citation reports. Clarivate. Okay. I think I may need a local network in order to access it. No. Well, usually when you have a local LAN access, then you should be able to access this. But anyway, you see that it is a similar system. You have the journal impact factor, the category, and the journal rank. The only difference between the journal citation report by Clarion is that it calculates all these for you already. So you don't have to do the manual calculation for the journal if you're on the JCR. So that is the first metrics. journal metrics. Article metrics, you should be familiar with that. It's just basically the citation count. How many people cite your article? All right. So there are two widely adapted, I would say, citation count system. You have the Google Scholar and the Scopus system. Well, I'll bring your attention to this recent publication in Scientific Reports. This is a publication in February 2025, which is published a few days ago, actually. By the way, I'm on board. I'm on the editorial board of Scientific Reports. So if anyone interested, any one of you are interested in doing peer review, I can, direct some of the peer review, the peer review task for you if you're interested in doing that. So this is a report published in Scientific Reports, citation manipulation through citation mills and preprint server. The idea is very simple because in Google Scholar, they also take preprints as a publication. So it's pretty simple. You write a few preprints, you cite your own work and put it in the preprint server, and then your citation count increase. And your H-index count can also be fabricated with this method. And this is a citation here. They engage with a citation boosting service and manage to purchase 50 citation. All right. So, and that's why people are less and less relying on Google Scholar for citation counts and for H-index, because everyone knows that it can be fabricated. So this is something that you need to be aware of that. And according to this report, Scopus and journal citation report is not affected, or at least it is not as factable now, because those kind of preprint article or low quality article were not being indexed by Scopus. So even if you write something and submit to a low quality journal and cite your own work, those citation counts are not being counted in the Scopus system. And that's why people are more and more moving towards to Scopus rather than Google Scholar. Okay, so there are two systems. You should be familiar with Google Scholar, and you should have a Google Scholar profile for yourself because it's popular and it's free. And then some of you are you still haven't got your Scopus researcher profile set up, and I'll show you some of the features in Scopus and maybe show you why you should get your your Scopus researcher profile set up. So you just go to scopus.com, and then right here, if you click on SciVal, then you should be able to reach your own researcher profile. Or if you haven't got it, you should set it up yourself. Okay, so this is a collection of all your paper being analyzed with all the interesting data that you may want to, take a look at that. But I would like to point to, well, there are publication metrics, citation metrics. So they are different from Google Scholar because Google Scholar takes everything literally. Scopus only takes citation from the Scopus index. Okay, so there are two things that I would like to direct your attention in here. Well, three things actually. First of all, in the Scopus system, if you have your own researcher profile, you can search for yourself. All right. And this is a list of, so I click on my own profile, and then this is a list of all the publications that I have in the Scopus system, and with all the citation counts in here. And I want to direct you to one piece of information I think is particularly important. So, when you click on the article right here, this article here, okay. So you see that this is the number of citations. So this paper is being cited 34 times. And there are two additional metrics that you can see. This is the Fieldway Citation Index. All right. So Fieldway Citation Index is another article metrics that you should be aware of, because it's not just the citation count. It is incorporating the time factor of the citation. Here's an example. If I have a paper that received 10 citations within 1 year since publication, that's a completely different story if you have a paper that's received 10 citations in 10 years since publication. So time factor is important in judging the citation, right? So they use a formula to calculate the index called Fieldway Citation Index. So basically, Fieldway Citation Index of 1 is average. That means this article is cited about the same as the global average in the field within the same period of time. So if you have an article with Fieldway Citation Index of 10, that means this article is cited 10 times more than the global average in the field in the same period of time. Okay, so this is the metrics. So this article here has a Fieldway Citation Index of 84.25. So the literal meaning is that this article is being cited 84 times, approximately 84 times more than the global average. And this is the 99 percentile. That means this is the top 1% most cited article in the field. Okay, so these are the information that you want to extract from your from the performance of your paper, because you can claim this kind of impact when you write your award application. You can say that I generate this great paper is being cited 84 times more than the global average, with the top 1% most cited article in the field, and so on. So those are the claims that you want to make when you are applying for grant or applying for reward, and so on. And when you click on that, there are additional metrics that you may be interested, but you can take a look at that. But I'm just pointing out the most useful metrics. Here you have PubMed metrics. So how many times it's being referenced in the news, and so on. And you don't have much information in there, but so let's skip that. But there are additional metrics that you can look into. All right, so that's article metrics. The last thing I want to talk about is the alternative metrics, right? So you can collect media citation information from Altmetrics, policy citation, how many policy papers cite your paper, from Scopus and from Altmetrics, and patent citation. So there are patent applications who are citing your paper. Okay, so let's take a look at the Scopus first. In the Scopus system, you can get policy citation and patent citation. Okay, so let's go back to Scopus. Here in your researcher profile, right? This is me. And as you scroll down, you have impact in here. Click on policy impact. Okay, so there are 4 policy citations, 13 policy papers citing my paper, all right, and 6 policy body counts. So as you scroll down, well, 4 scholarly output being cited by. So that means there are 13 documents citing 4 of my paper. It is being cited by 6 policy body. Okay, so as you scroll down, you'll see who cites your paper and which particular paper is being cited. So this paper, I have 8 policy citation. If you click on that, you'll see that who is citing your paper. So this paper is being cited by the US CDC, and it's being cited 8 times by the same policy body, which is the US CDC. Okay, so scroll down. This paper is being cited 3 times by policy body. It's being cited by Guidelines in PubMed, the government of Turkey, and WHO. cited 3 times. Okay, so those are the information or the policy impact information that you want to extract and put it in your application of whatever that you're publishing. Here, okay, being cited by Vox EU, which is a think tank. All right. So let's go back here. Now, as you scroll down, you can also see there are patent impact in here. So let's click on patent impact. You see there's one scholarly output cited by patent and by 2 citing patent authors and so on. As you scroll down, you'll see which particular article. So this article received 2 patent citations. Okay, so you see which particular patent is citing your work. All right, so you want to collect these information so that you can make your proper claims of your work. So that is the policy citation of Scopus and patent citation from Scopus. In Altmetrics, you can also look into the media citation and policy citation and patent citation as well. But the it's unfortunate that Altmetrics and Scopus cover different sets of policy and patent documents. That means you'll find that for the same paper on Scopus, you'll find some patent citation or policy citation that is different from Altmetrics. That means you have to keep track of both systems in order to maximize the documentation of your research impact. So you have to keep track of both, unfortunately. So how do you access to Altmetrics? So Altmetrics is in Element. Okay, so as you click on your research outputs, so this is a list of the paper that is documented inside of the RMIT Element right here. Click on metrics. This is Altmetrics, right? This is a new paper that I just input, so there's no metric in there. Nobody cited, nobody even recognized what it is because it's just recently published. So I'm going to scroll down to some of the paper that is slightly older, that is receiving some Altmetrics. Find a good example. Right here. Okay, so can see as you push the mouse over, you see that this article is being picked up by 4 news outlets. Well, X user, Facebook, YouTube. Well, I may not be very interested in that, but I'm very interested about the media citation of my research output. So this is a summary. This is the paper from Altmetrics. This is the data from Altmetrics. My paper is in here. It is an article published in this journal, publication date, summary of my paper. Click on the news tab. You see that this article is being cited by these media outlets. All right, Psychology Today, Forbes. So if you click on that, this is the actual article who is citing my work. So as you read through it, you can see how, these are the citation of the article, and somehow one of these citation is citing my paper from this article. Okay, so you want to be able to document these citations so that you can make a proper claim in your grant proposal, in your award. Here's another example. I'm just going to show it to you. This is, once again, data from Altmetrics. This is my paper, the journal, the publication dates. You notice that this is a policy citation. Okay, so as I said, they have different sets of policy documents that they keep track of. So you
the policy citation that you're getting from Altmetrics is different from the policy citation that you're getting from Scopus. So you have to keep track of both systems. So we can see this article is being cited by WHO 2 times and so on. All right, so sorry. All right, so, and that's why you need to enter or record your research outcome properly, because otherwise you won't be able to harvest all these data that is, you can use it to your advantage to a lot of different things, right? So just a summary, where actually this 4-step. After you make your publication, first, make sure that it is being properly documented in RMIT Elements, all right, so that we can pull up your record and see your work, and all the data are being harvested properly by the RMIT element, so that you can get those data for your own use. Second, make sure that it is being evaluated for ERA eligibility. Report to your cluster lead. Well, different cluster leads have different way of keeping track of the research outcome. If you're in my cluster, then this is how we document the research outcome of our cluster member, right? In terms of the article metrics, journal metrics, I also keep track of the media citation, policy citation, and patent citation of the paper as well. Okay, and then you should keep track of your research impact as well by utilizing these data that are being collected in different researcher profile platforms. Okay, so if you have any question, feel free to drop me a line, catch me face to face, or ask me on MS Team. I'm more than welcome to answer your question. All right, so that's it. Thank you very much for your time.